Good morning. Today is Wednesday, October 5th, 2022. Please join me and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Happy birthday today to Delilah Garrett, Nolan Raymer, Elena Schroeder, Sawyer Thomas, Haley Thompson, and Carter Usine. I hope you all have great birthdays today. For lunch today, we'll have egg sausage cheese on an English muffin, crinkle fries, sweet diced peaches, ruby red juice, and milk. For breakfast tomorrow, we'll have a super donut, pineapple cup, ZZ's diced pear cup, and milk. I had some staff and students recommend to me, and I thought it was a great idea that, we announce student birthdays, but sometimes we like to know when our teachers and staff are having a birthday. So we are going to start announcing teacher and staff birthdays along with the student birthdays daily. So because we've missed some people, I'd like to just recognize those staff that have had a birthday already this year. In August, we had Miss Allen, Mrs. Schultz in seventh grade, Ms. Schwartz, Mrs. Hitchcock, Miss Jaudat, Mr. Wozniak, Miss Mancuso, Miss Wren, Mrs. Lines, Miss Kraus, Miss Ringo, Mr. Provincial, Mrs. Awerda, Mrs. McClernon, and those were our August birthdays. Having a birthday in September, we had Mr. Roach, Miss Jones, Mrs. Burke, Miss Murphy, Miss Whalen, Miss Van Hayden, Miss Phillips, Mr. Lines, Mrs. McDonald, Miss Germchapal, Mrs. Tondini, Mr. Walker, Miss Miller, our fifth grade special ed teacher, Mrs. Nettles, Mrs. Bormet, Mrs. Lines, Mrs. Prignano, and Mrs. McLucky. I hope you guys all had great birthdays at the start of this school year. And then just this month, on October 2nd, Miss Hollenbeck, one of our parapros, celebrated her birthdays. And celebrating their birthdays yesterday, October 4th, we had Miss Caputo, Miss Roach, and Mr. Tondini. So I hope all those teachers and staff had great birthdays, and we can look forward now to including them on our birthdays as we move through the rest of the school year. A reminder that our book fair will continue to run every day. It's open until 4 o'clock p.m. So if your parents want to pick you up and come in after 3:30, they can come in and the book fair will be open until 4 o'clock. And the only time they will be closed is from 1 to 2 for a lunch break and to restock the shelves. Also, a reminder that Picture Day is this Friday. Make sure you're prepared to have your pictures taken on Friday. On behalf of the Morris Women's Club, they want to thank everyone for entering the Literary Scarecrow contest. All of the entries were great, and they had many votes. Mrs. Mancuso's class, Mrs. Dunn's class, and Mrs. Blotty's classes all earned $50 in money that will go towards their classroom library. And in addition, Scarecrow number 2, Mrs. Mancuso's class, received the Winner's Choice Award for the most votes. They will receive the $50 and they will get a traveling trophy that goes to the best Scarecrow each year. So congratulations to all of our participants and especially to Mrs. Mancuso's class. The rest of our announcements are geared more towards our junior high students. Speech team members, there will be practice Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday this week in Miss Blotty's room during lunch. Make sure you grab your lunch and remind your group members so that you can begin picking out your speech and practicing. Student ambassadors will start helping in the classrooms this week. You should have received your schedule on last Friday. If not, you can grab it from Miss Lingano. Make sure to check your schedule, know who your teacher is, and what time to go, and where the classroom is located. Please be on time. If you have questions or need help finding your class, see Mrs. Lingano, or you can get some help from somebody here in the office. Fifth grade choir will begin next week on Tuesday, October 11th. Choir will be Tuesdays from 8:50 to 9:20 a.m. Please bring your sign-up sheets to Miss Miller to the first day of choir practice. Today, Learning Lab will be in Mrs. Lindenborn's class in the 8th grade hallway. Well, that's all the announcements we have for today, but let's remember our Morris motto to be respectful, be responsible, and be safe. Have a great Wednesday, everybody.